that the people talking of disunity instead of unity are right in calling it that way.
I earlier illustrated the fact that we have 350 tribes in this country, implying 350 different ethnic groups with different languages and cultures. If we are still at this stage now with all these cultural and ethnic differences, it means we are celebrating a successful 50 years of national unity. Look at countries like Southern Sudan, with one, just one ethnic group, but they are unable to stay united. I'll tell you that in the 21st century, globalization means coming together than separating. The European Union is coming together as a bloc. It's now one nation. You see the United Kingdom. There are so many countries that have come together to form the United Kingdom. It's one nation. You see the Russia-China bloc. You see the United States of America. To succeed now in this global economy, you have to be bigger and stronger. But we are instead breaking ourselves apart to achieve what? Failure and destruction. I want to assure you that Cameroon is a successful united nation. We just have cultural and ethnic differences that, if well consolidated, Cameroon will become a force to reckon with. It is not by error that we are referred to as Africa in miniature. And I think that the ideals of Muammar Gaddafi, who was brutally murdered by the imperialists because they never wanted a united Africa, is the same spirit that they are instilling to separate us, because the spirit of divide and rule. Who benefits from the chaos that is happening today in Cameroon? It is not Africa, it's not Cameroonians. They are the imperialists, they are the no-colonialists, and we are ignorantly being happy to think that we are succeeding. We are one step two, yet we are not going to. Who is benefiting from the chaos in Cameroon? Who is benefiting from the chaos in Africa? Who is benefiting from the anarchy and chaos in Mali, in Burkina Faso, in Guinea? They are the neo-colonialists, they are the imperialists. The solution to the African dream is that we should become united. And we cannot become united without Cameroon being part of the African dream. And for Africa to succeed, we need to be united. We don't need to be identifying ourselves as Anglophones or Francophones, for we are Africans. That English is not an African language, it's a foreign language. The French is a foreign language. I persist and insist and resist that we are all Africans, and we should speak one language and move forward with the spirit of African unity. For there is the future and the destiny of Africa, and Cameroon being part of it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Siakashune. Thank you very much. I will take on Mr. Ndiwum Emmanuel. You earlier mentioned that we are rather celebrating 50 years of disunity, and you called it a forceful marriage, whereas we remember that it was a willing vote by all citizens in 1972 to come together as one state. Then now, when we equally consider the points that have been laid down by Mr. Siaka, talking about the success of a state as this, which has over 300 languages, and we are fighting over foreign languages, English and French. He doesn't think this is actually supposed to be the problem of a cause for disunity. What's your opinion?
I heard your question very well. Before I come to it, I want to start from Mr. Tajia, who wants to play the role of a peace broker. And I wanted to make him understand that you don't talk peace without justice. When people are angry, you try to listen to them, find a way out. Peace is just a product of justice. You don't broker peace
Without justice,
where there is
no
anger
justice.
everywhere. You don't broker peace where there is injustice. And I think this is where Cameroon has been failing. Even reverend men of God, they have stood in the churches, they have preached peace, and they have forgotten to talk about justice. Until that time, where we shall start from justice before coming to peace, that would have been the beginning of the way forward. That said, my senior brother there actually said a lot of things that I seem to agree with him this time around. Yes, you know, when it is good, I say it is good. But what what beats my imagination is that you are of the CPDM party, and in Cameroon, the CPDM cannot be separated from the state. What have you been doing? What have you been saying to your government in place? Because we know this war was declared on the peace-loving citizens of Northwest and Southwest by President Biya. He declared the war. So when you are talking about arms here, you are leaving some people with the impression that people in Norwest and Southwest just got one money, they picked up arms. No, sir, no. They retaliated after a war declared on them. And I will even give you the statistics. If you doubt it, find out who was Akum Julius, the first ever Northwest Anglophone citizen, let me put it like this, that was gunned down by the happily triggered state forces. That is where the first bullet came from. I did not hear you people come out to canvass justice for his death. Today we are talking about peace without looking at what actually happened. I refuse to talk history because I've been talking history for so long. I refuse to talk history because it adds my anger. Because it's history of manipulation. We have refused to talk about the political history, the academic history of this country, and we are talking about the political history of this country. Now, we are talking about a fatherland that we have loved the fatherland for 50 years, and that fatherland has disfathered us. It has unfathered us in every aspect of it. You are talking about unity in a country where some people from a particular region are more intelligent than others from a particular region. That is to say, go to the administration in this country. They are your friends because you are from the CBDN. Start from the top to the bottom. 85% of them are from a particular tribe. I don't want to stigmatize the people of some tribes here.
Particular tribe, not francophone. I like that one.
No, that particular tribe should be from the French region. If you want me to be precise now.
No, it doesn't work like that.
Now, what impression do you give to those who do not come from such region? Like somebody asked in this country in 2018, am I supposed to write a concours to become a person of this tribe? And they were criticizing him. We are talking about 50 years of national disunity. I maintain it. National disunity being nurtured by those who were supposed to show us love. Our president, in his own words, will come out in the country that is supposed to unite and call people apprentis sorciers. Teaching people, he will come out and say les petits partis politiques. That is somebody who was supposed to be a leader, if at all he is. We are talking about 50 years in the country that we are supposed to be celebrating national unity, while other people are in prison simply for expressing opinion about how the country is being managed. You talked about accountability. We are talking about 50 years that your president asked us who sung the prayer. And that came a fertile soil for his collaborators to embezzle the way they liked because there were no proofs. And just for him to turn around and start putting people into prison in the name of corruption. Where we still, even up to date, question if they are really in prison because of corruption. We are talking about 50 years of national unity when others are in captivity because they question the form of the state. We have young men that are supposed to carry the vision of the country ahead who are languages in prison today simply because they question that same people that you say they were supposed to be accountable to us. And because they have refused to be accountable, they have chosen the voice of repression. They have chosen the voice of oppression to oppress so that we don't speak. Some of us still speaking today already know that we are walking corpses, and we know. We have chosen to speak, and we shall speak until it gets into the heads of those who matter. We are talking about 50 years of national unity. When political parties cannot manifest in the same county where CBDA manifests every day. We are talking about 50 years of our resources being laundered by a few privileged people in this country, where their children cannot even attend schools back in the country, and our children learn under trees. That is what you call progress in your CBDM. That is what you call progress in your 50 years of national unity. We are talking about a country where in the garage of one minister you find 11 cars, Mr. Shune. And in another compound they will not have lunch. Talk less of breakfast. We are talking about national unity in a country where some people are more Cameroonian than others. Their words are law. Their lives are gospel. Whereas those Cameroonians who simply want things to be done the right way so that Cameroon can become more unified have been relegated. 50 years of national unity, Mr. Shune. Our diaspora brothers, productive as they are all on the run. And that is the country we want to build without bringing everybody together. National unity should equally sound to you people like bringing everybody together. And if I were to subscribe to your statement that despite difficulties we should learn to stay together, what is stopping your government from bringing back all this diaspora to put hands together and build Cameroon? Is it not time for us to all accept that we have failed? We have failed woefully. Can we open a new page? Is it not time for your president, whom you claim that he inherited problems?
Our president.
Whom you will not put words into my mouth, Mr. Atagia. Whom you claim that he inherited problems and that we have 350 tribes in Cameroon, which is practically very difficult for him to handle, because handling Cameroon is like handling Russia, handling Europe, handling America. I mean, and then what is he still doing there? Is it not said in the common language, when a potato becomes so hot in your hand, you drop it, Mr. Shune? Why is he not dropping it? Why is he tying there? There are many Cameroonians who have the aspiration, who have the inspiration to carry this country forward. But you people have decided to entrust the country into the hands of people who cannot move, and you expect Cameroon to move. How?
Thank you very much.
People who cannot move will never move a country forward. And this hypocrisy of playing the role of peace, whereas there is no justice, is what has buried Cameroon for so long a time. I rest my case.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ndiwum Emmanuel. Let me take on you, Sir Tagia. We're talking about peace, we're talking about justice. No peace without justice. And Sir Siaka equally mentioned that dialogue is the only solution to misunderstanding.
Put up every time that the entire problem of Africa is caused by the West. I agree that yes, the West has been trying to put an influence in Africa and trying to influence certain things in Africa. But this argument that the West is responsible for everything that goes wrong in Africa, that is an escapist tendency, trying to run away from where the problem lies. And the problem lies with our leaders. If the West comes in and they're doing whatever they're doing, it is because our leaders have given them the opportunity to come in and do what they want to do. He started off by asking the question that we were very peaceful throughout, and where did this come from? And I want to believe that he's trying to create the impression that the Anglophone problems or whatsoever is a Western manipulation. The reason Cameroon was peaceful right up to 2016, if at all there was peace, and many of us have been saying that what Cameroon was experiencing was not peace. Cameroon was experiencing a fragile peace. Everything was put in place. And let me tell you, even right up to now as we speak, we are sitting on a potential time bomb. If we think that what is happening in the Northwest and Southwest is war, wait until the next 5 to 10 years. Then you will realize that we are sitting on a potential time bomb. And this comes as a result of the fact that when we have people like my friend, the last speaker, who think that we should just bury our problem and then just give up and then just say, oh no, everything is fine, and stay quiet, and he thinks that that is peace, that is not peace. The problem we face in Cameroon is that we are calling for temporary peace, sustainable peace. And when you are fighting to have temporary peace, you make believe. You create the impression that everything is okay. You suppress people to succumb to your dictum. You carry on measures that are not sustainable, measures that are meant to momentarily satisfy people's interests and calm them down. When you do all of that, what you build is a temporary peace. And you keep the real thing keeps boiling on the ground. I am one of those who in 1997, I remember on Cameroon, on a CRTV Morning Safari, I said it, that when people started complaining, and then you hear people just going all over the place and saying, oh, these people are not us, these people are people who create problem for Cameroon, just ignore these people. I'm talking about SCNT people when they started coming up. And I said at that time on Morning Safari, I said, when these people are complaining and then we intimidate them, we say that they are noisemakers and send them on the ground, they will go underground. And by the time they resurface, you will not be able to control them. And this is exactly what is happening. And today we are still doing the exact same mistake. We are still doing this exact same error, thinking that we can just wave aside people's legitimate grievances for the sake of peace. People complain and you say, oh no, we should just accept it. And my brother keeps saying how Cameroon, we had a national team of 9 members from a particular tribe, and we successfully had the World Cup. That is fine. It's as beautiful as you can say it. So we can have a ministry of 35 ministers from the same ethnic group, in as much as Cameroon is fine, in as much as there is peace. And that is where we are planting a situation where in the long run, we will not be able to handle. So I disagree with that kind of approach. And what I am thinking, because yes, it is true, I agree with him when he says that we should look for a solution to the problem. Even though he was not giving the solution. He was rather giving justification why the situation is the way it is, and therefore should remain the way it is. We should be asking ourselves, why are people complaining? We cannot just say, oh, these people who are complaining are being manipulated by the West. That is not true. I do not even see how the West comes in. It is true we can blame the West for so many things that have gone wrong in Africa. But it does not mean that we fail in our responsibility to carry on our own responsibility and we push the blame to the West. I want to ask you if it is the West that asked a chief in the Southwest region to call people from the Northwest region as camp no-goes and ask them to pack and go back to where they came from. I want to know if it is the West who told them to do that. And we have the government hearing those kind of statements and stay quiet and do nothing about it. Is it the West that did that? I want to know if it is the West that says that for close to 50 years or more, even 60 years, that a people who speak a particular language cannot hold certain positions in this country. Is it the West that says that those people should not hold those positions? I want to know if it is the West who says that political parties cannot freely demonstrate why opposition party cannot freely demonstrate, why the ruling party can go ahead and demonstrate within the same country? Is it the West that is doing that? I would like you to answer that question for me. Is it also the West that shoot people who protest peacefully, or you would tell me that those people who are protesting peacefully are being manipulated by the West? Because that is the narrative. That is the narrative we keep sending around. And when we send that kind of narrative, we send the wrong message. We send the message that we are supposed to subscribe and we are supposed to be quiet in the face of discrimination, in the face of injustice, in the face of corruption. We are supposed to just stay quiet, because if we speak, it is because the West have manipulated us. Is that the kind of country we want to build? Is that the way we are going to achieve peace? And to provide you an answer to what you asked, what way forward? And I will tell you, I live in the United States. And in this United States where I live in, there are several ethnic groups, different people of different colors, different languages. There are more than 5, you talk of 350 ethnic groups in Cameroon. In the United States is the most diverse country in the world. Cameroon is not even halfway gone. How have they managed to keep themselves intact? To the extent that Americans love their country so much that they can die for their country. It is because they adopted a federal system of government in which we may be different, we may have our different ethnic communities and different cultural backgrounds, and we maintain our different ethnicity and our different culture in our different regions, but we blend all of this in at the center. That is how America has been able to keep itself together for several hundreds of years. And therefore, we should ask ourselves, why are we so frightened with this federal system of government? Apparently, the SDF has been calling for a federal system of government since its inception, and saying that the way out of the problem we have in Cameroon is for us to have a federal system of government where each region or each federated state will manage its own affairs at the level of that state, manage its own resources at the level of that state. And the regime in place have vehemently refused to adopt that system because they feel that by adopting a federal system of government, some of the power that they hold will be distributed and given, some will go to the federated states. And that is why they don't want. They want to conserve power in Yaoundé and to themselves. As it stands, Cameroon is run by one man. Who has ever done that? Where have you ever seen that? One man. Everything in Cameroon revolves around Biya. If Biya say yes, the nation moves. If Biya say no, the nation stays. And you tell me that it is the West that's causing this to happen. We have a president of the republic who has made himself a demigod. All the institutions of the country, from the parliament to the Supreme Court to the Constitutional Council, they are answerable to one man. When was the last time we had a private member bill go through in parliament? It must be a bill that comes from the president of the republic. And when it comes from the president of the republic, the members of parliament just have to clap through it. He appoints and dismisses anybody at will. Our civil service have been transformed into a political organization where until you abide by the dictum of the president of the republic, you will never progress in the civil service, no matter how skillful you are. Is it still the West doing that? How can we grow as a nation when we have people who can build this country? They cannot be given the opportunity to serve because they do not subscribe to the belief of the CPDM and because they do not lick the boot of Paul Biya. How can we move ahead? Is this still the West doing all of this? We have politicized every single strata of the country. Everything has been politicized. And to make matters worse, we have used that very politics to divide us into different ethnic groups, different regions. A man from Bamenangwe does not want to see eye to eye with somebody from Mancon because a man from Mancon is a major competitor in a political position that BR must give. And you gain that political position by their level of support to the CPDM. The Southwest person does not want to see somebody from the Northwest because he sees the person of the North from the Northwest as a major competitor for the position of Prime Minister. Because the President of the Republic had made that position to be a competitive position between Northwesterners and Southwesterners. Somebody in the Northwest, from the Northwest region or from the Southwest region, living in the Northwest region for years, for 15 years, 100 years, and teaching in that school, serving in schools in that region, cannot be principal because we have a policy that says you must come from the Northwest to be principal in the Northwest. You must come from the Southwest to be principal of the Southwest. When you institute this kind of institutional division, tribalism, regionalism, and then you turn around and you blame the West. Come on. We should at least admit where we have faltered. And then we sit and ask ourselves, how do we correct these things? Thank you.
Dialogue.
Thank you very much, Mr. Siaka Shune, a politician.
I would like to react to Mr. Siaka.
Okay, 1 minute.
Yes, Mr. Siaka. I would like to tell you that I'm a Cameroonian, and I remain a Cameroonian. I am not an American. I haven't taken an American citizenship. Neither am I even a permanent resident in the United States. And for you to use statements like me trying to sow seed of discourse, see, those kind of name calling doesn't even bother me at all because it is very common for some of you when truth are told to you, you transform it into name calling. And that is the same thing that obtains with the people on the other side, the Ambazonians. I've been tagged several names by Ambazonians. And you are not the first person to tag me. I've had CPDM people tag me all kinds of names. But let me tell you the truth. Unless we start admitting the problems that we have in that country and accepting the truth and dealing with it, we will continue to have this problem for several years to come. It's not coming on the media and sweet-talking the president and acting as if you are all saints that is going to solve the problem that Cameroon is facing. We must be frank, we must be blunt, we must say things the way they are to solve the problem that we have in Cameroon.
Sorry, Tagia, you're going to be given your own time to talk. Yes. I take Mr. Ndiwum first, then I'll take you, Mr. Tagia. So, Mr. Ndiwum, just go ahead.
I want to think that in a respected or respectable media like this one, when you are inviting guests, when you have people coming from one party, you should let me know. I never knew I was coming to meet two CBDM people in the studio. I'm sure I've really carried that back. You know,
are you tagging him?
when you are an intellectual and you use words on a media like intellectual buffoonery, which to me I consider as linguistic inflation that has no message to pass, it questions your intellectual capacity. Come and use words like intellectual buffoonery. I mean, I know it's the arrogance that you people in the CBDM and your system has. And that is, you can see where that arrogance has carried us to. You know, your president is used to insulting Cameroonians in any way, and Cameroonians have been quiet. That's why my senior man here will tell me that, no, when he insults, be quiet. I mean, a good amount of money is spent in security in this country to protect one man in seat, and that man has not been productive to Cameroon. I say it and I take responsibility. You don't come here to give me lessons on what to think about how your failed CPDM regime, which is clear that even a nursery school child knows that it's a failed system. You don't come here to tell me how to speak about that system. I am a Cameroonian. I have the means to leave Cameroon, but I've chosen to be in Cameroon. That is, you should even be applauding me for showing my own patriotism by even accepting to come to the platform, identify what the criminals of the state have been doing. Thieves ruling a country, failing it. Because to launder state money is a criminal offense against the citizens. Your president is not above the citizens of Cameroon, Mr. Man. Don't come here and give us lessons. Mr. Bia is not above the citizens of Cameroon. Without him, Cameroon exists. After him, Cameroon shall exist. So I think next time, please, you mind the lessons that you give, and to the people you give the lessons to them. Because you are part of the failure of Cameroon. And I mean, for you to be ashamed, you dress very well, you come here, you open your mouth, you jabber, you say any kind of thing you want to say. Because we are on a platform, I want to defend an agenda of failure. I repeat now, you said I don't have any powers to question the powers of Mr. Bia. If he's the president of this country and I'm a citizen of this country, I must question it. And your CBDM colleague here said, when they steal the money, we should not speak. When the said something a while ago about the derogatory statements used by state officials on the citizens, like the one of Southwest who called people dogs. In a state of law that you just cited a while ago, the law should not, no one should have been above the law. When you use such words, graphics, come no go, the law should take its course, Mr. Shune. Except otherwise, that I will be comforted again in the belief I once had, that once you go into the CPDM, no matter how intelligent you are, your brain is cloned to reason otherwise. And that's why the wrongs are the right for you people. The black becomes red. The white becomes yellow. And to my senior brother here, Mr. Tagia, your colleague, your CBM colleague, I want to tell you, here, please, and I'll be very frank. I'll be very frank. With this kind of mindset that you are having, it is the mindset that has led Cameroon to the gutters in which we are today. And we are the no and never again generation. Falsehood, lies telling is not what we are going to use as a tool to continue to kill this country. Because you are justifying and defending the indefendable. You cannot tell me that in a country where people are living in misery, embezzlement is the sole name of some state official. You come here to justify. You are telling me to clap when they embezzle, when they kill citizens. We should clap because that is what makes a citizen. Makes you a patriot. Worst of all, let me tell you, patriotism is love for fatherland, and if you love fatherland, you will not tell a lie about that fatherland. If you love fatherland, you will not swindle state funds. If you love fatherland, you will not defend and justify falsehood. If you love fatherland, you will not be in your country as a leader and your people do not see you. Each time you are coming out, the streets are dry. If you love fatherland, you will not come to a television like this one and beg Cameroonians to be quiet, to be mute when things are not going. We are saying, if by the time you were growing up, maybe at my age, you had the courage to hold this government accountable. You come here, you take things that are of no use, talk about football. What is the impact of that football to that woman in Akwaya? What is the impact of that football to that woman in Tinto, Bafmen, Fundo? What is the impact of that football you are saying here? Talk about it that touches the lives of the citizens. And then be unpatriotic as they are. When their crimes have overflowed the cup, they come fooling Cameroonians, decreeing patriotism by building one thing. I love my country. Love is not decreased. When you love your country, you do concrete actions. Build hospitals. Those are the monuments you want now. Build schools. Those are the monuments you want now. Build roads. The people will be happy. Automatically, they will tend to love their country. You don't force people. You don't force hungry people to love a country. I cannot be on my dying bed sleeping out of the hospital because I cannot afford for my bills, and you are forcing me to say j'aime mon pays, I love Cameroon. Criticizing your country for what is going wrong is equally patriotism. So you people should not you have monopoly of patriotism for this country.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ndiwum Emmanuel. I just pray don't take this thing in different directions.
No, I hope.
Mr.
No, it's a debate.
I
Ta-
hope
Tanya,
no. A debate is
Mr.
different from fight.
No,
We are not
you-
here to fight.
yeah, we are not
Mostly
here to
in
fight.
this time in Cameroon, we are talking of unity.
And in a
Here, I was not mandated by my party to be here. I'm here on my own accord. But I would say that the SDF is the only political party that has actively addressed the issue of the crisis, especially those in Northwest and Southwest, in several accounts. The SDF political party has, since the 1990s, as I mentioned earlier, had started proposing that to prevent this crisis to even get to the point in which it is, Cameroon should adopt a federal system of government, and that will resolve the problem. I don't have time to expound on that to tell you how that is going to happen. But they proposed the federal system of government as a solution. And then when the war broke out, the chairman of my party, Frundi, approached the guys who started this at the Liberty Square and tried to talk them down and try to get them to compromise. They didn't, but he did not leave it there. He forged ahead and worked to encourage dialogue in both camps to ensure that a solution is found. When the whole thing broke out into an outright war, the national chairman of the SDF wrote a personal letter, and that letter is online. Any of us can find that in. Wrote a personal letter to the President of the Republic and reminding the President of the Republic that if he doesn't do something immediately, and he lay out the things that the President of the Republic can do to address the problem. Furthermore, the national chairman took himself right into the Unity Palace, where he held the hand of the President of the Republic and told him to his face that his ministers are deceiving him, those around him are deceiving him, and that there is a problem, a real problem going on in the Northwest and Southwest, and that he should address it. Unfortunately, the President of the Republic ignored it again. I cannot also go further to talk about the number of diplomatic missions that the SDF political parties visited, different diplomatic missions in Cameroon, to put pressure on them and ask them to pressure the President of the Republic to address this issue and hold a genuine dialogue. I will end by saying that there is very little that political parties, especially those of the opposition can do to address the problem that we have in Cameroon if the President of the Republic, President Biya, and the CPDM party refuse to give them a chance to make their own contribution. It's unfortunate that President Biya and the CPDM have considered themselves to have a monopoly of the solution, and they are addressing it the very wrong way, refusing to listen. They have this arrogance of people complaining, and they decide their own to say that this is what your problem is. Somebody's complaining of malaria, and he say, no, you don't have malaria, you have headache. And then he prescribes medicine for headache while that person is dying of malaria. That is the arrogance, and it becomes very difficult for political parties, and that is the challenge the SDF and the national chairman have been facing to play a role to solve this problem.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ndofor, Richard, SDF militant and civil society advocate. Let me get to you, Mr. Ndiwum Emmanuel, as a civil society actor. We've pointed out the problems of the English-speaking Cameroon. As now an actor of the civil society, how can you point out the role of civilians in bringing social peace and national cohesion, guaranteeing an emerging Cameroon?
That's a good one. You know, even after a fight, peace should come.
Mm-hmm.
Peace should come. Because I think I have disagreed on several things with Mr. Shune,
Mm-hmm.
but I agreed on something he said. that I think it should go into archive. That if coming from Northwest, if fighting for social justice, if holding our leaders to accountability, which is what Mr. Tegia does not want, if holding our leaders to accountability makes us Amazonian, we assume it. But if killing our own people, if stopping our own children from going to school, if kidnapping old mothers, keeping them for ransom is what they call Ambazonia, you are on your own. You people are on your own. Because in the first place, what makes you win a war is when the people and the spirit are with you. When the people and their spirit cuts off from you, you are on your own. So I want to think that all hope is not lost. Wisdom has it that if you can shake a hand with the devil and obtain peace, do it. I will throw it back to Mr. Bia. They say he's the captain. It is time for him. He knows where Ayabacho is. He knows where Akwanga is. He even have the chef of the leader of the secessionists at his backyard. I think this is time for him to prove his wisdom as the wisest man of Africa and say, look, I have beaten you people with the left hand. I want to bring you people back with the right hand by talking with them. I think let's go the way of the U.S. George Walker Bush or something, who said, let's talk the talk, walk the walk, and not war the war. I think it is time. After fighting, after debates like this, peace remains priceless. We need to obtain that peace. And we must obtain it by looking into each other's eye, eyeball for eyeball, saying that you heard me here, rather than what he said that we should cover it. You heard me here. We put it all on the table. We say, let bygones be bygones. Because Cameroon, I hold it so dear to my heart. That is why, after all the opportunities I've had to leave Cameroon,
you decided to stay
and
back.
I decided to serve my country back in my country.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ndiwum Emmanuel, civil society actor. Let me get a peaceful concluding statement from you, Mr. Siakashune.
Yes, Rita. I've always said that I stand for accountability of our leaders and social justice. I appreciate the